buildings. Look across the Huangpu River, and you see the future. The soaring towers of Pudong, including the Oriental Pearl Tower, defining modern China. At night, the Bund in China transforms into a dazzling display of lights, reflecting the energy and ambition of Shanghai. It is a place where old China meets new China, a vibrant collision of history and hyper-modernity. To escape the summer heat, Chinese emperors built a masterpiece of garden design just outside Beijing. The Summer Palace in Beijing, China, is an imperial garden of unparalleled beauty, designed to harmonize with nature. From ancient history, we leap into the future, arriving at the dazzling waterfront of China's most dynamic city. The marble boat stands as a unique pavilion on the edge of Kunming Lake, a symbol of the enduring beauty found in China's gardens. The Bund in Shanghai, China, is a famous waterfront promenade that showcases the city's clone with its grand early 20th century buildings. To escape the sun, emperors built a masterpiece of garden design just outside Beijing. We now Sichuan province, where a mountain has been carved into a deity watching over a river for over a millennium. The Leshan giant Buddha in China is the world's largest stone Buddha, at over 230 feet tall, carved into a hillside. His head alone is nearly 50 feet high, and his shoulders are wide enough to accommodate a basketball court, a true marvel of ancient engineering in China. Built waters at the confluence of three rivers, he has sat in silent 1200 years in China. To see him is to understand the devotion and monumental artistic capabilities of ancient China. Mountain in China, near Lijiang, is a mountain range with 13 peaks. It's highly covered in snow. The Jade Dragon Snow Mountain in China, near Lijiang, is a mountain range with 13 peaks, permanently covered in snow. A cable car ride takes you up 1,000 feet, bringing you closer to the glaciers and jagged peaks of this part of China. The Blue Moon Valley's waters, colored by minerals from the mountain, contrast to the stark white peaks above in China. Nestled at the foot of that snow mountain lies a town that feels frozen in time. The old town of Lijiang in China is a UNESCO World Heritage Site, famous for its well-preserved ancient architecture and intricate waterway system. The old town of Lijiang in China is a UNESCO World Heritage Site, famous for its well-preserved ancient architecture and intricate waterway system. The town is a hub for the Naxi minority culture, and its cobblestone streets are filled with traditional music, crafts, and the vibrant life of southwestern China. Wandering its alleys, you are transported to another time, feeling the pulse of a culture that continues to thrive within China. Our next wonder defies gravity and logic, a temple that seems to hang miraculously from a cliff. The Hanging Temple in Datong, China, is a marvel of ancient architecture, built into a cliff over 75 meters above the ground. It appears to be held up by nothing but wooden beams embedded into the rock, a testament to the ingenuity of builders in ancient China. Uniquely, it is the only surviving temple in China that combines the three teachings of Buddhism, Taoism, and Confucianism under one roof. To stand in this temple, suspended between heaven and awe-inspiring experience unique to the rich history of China. Nature, the greatest artist, painted the next location with vibrant, sweeping strokes of color. The Zhangyi Danxia National Geological Park in China is famous for its incredible rainbow-colored rock formations. Formed by the deposition of minerals over millions of years, these mountains look like a giant painter's palette spilled across the landscape of China. The colors are most vivid after rain and at sunrise and sunset, makes the stripes of China's geology glow.
It feels more at home on an alien planet, yet it is in the heart of China.
Ascend one of the four sacred Buddhist mountains of China, a place of pilgrimage.
Mount Emei in China is the highest of the mountains, and its summit is crowned by a magnificent gold.
Pilgrims have climbed its thousands of steps for centuries, and in the serene temples that dot its slopes in China.
The mountain is also famous for its population of mischievous monkeys, who consider themselves the true guardians of this sacred place in China. Watching the sunrise from its peak, with the sea of clouds at your feet, is a profound and spiritual experience, a true gift of China.
Deep beneath the surface of Guilin lies a hidden world of wonder, illuminated by a kaleidoscope of color.
The Reed Flute Cave in Guilin, China, is a natural limestone cave filled with stunning stalactites, stalagmites, and rock formations. Named after the reeds growing outside that were used to make flutes, its interior is a magical underground palace of China. For over 180 million years, water has carved these shapes, and today, colored lights bring this hidden world of China to life.
It is a silent, ancient cathedral of stone, deep within the earth of China, waiting to be explored.
Poets have sung its praises, and emperors have built their retreats on its shores. This is the legendary West Lake.
West Lake in Hangzhou, China, is a UNESCO World Heritage Site that has inspired artists and writers for centuries with its ethereal beauty. Its calm waters are dotted with pagodas and crossed by ancient bridges, creating a landscape of perfect tranquility found in China. Thriklun is perhaps its most iconic site, where during the Mid-Autumn Festival, candles in the pagodas reflect the moonlight on the waters of China. Each season paints a different masterpiece on the canvas of West Lake, making it a timeless symbol of classical beauty in China. Our penultimate destination is a forest not of trees but of stone, a a natural labyrinth that has stood for millions of years. The stone forest in Yunnan, China, is a remarkable set of limestone formations that look like a petrified forest made of stone.
Walking through it, you navigate a maze of towering rocks, some appearing as petrified trees, others as mythical creatures, all part of China's geological wonders.
Formed by the erosion of limestone over 270 million years, it's a place where nature's slow, powerful artistry is on full display in China. The local Sani people have woven legends about this place, adding a cultural mystique to the natural marvel of China. Number 1 most beautiful place in China, a landscape so vast and breathtaking it seems to have been carved by giants. The Hongahani rice terraces in China are a masterpiece of nature and cascading down the Ailao Mountains for thousands of feet. Carved over 1,300 years by the Han people, this is more than a scenic view. It's a living, working cultural landscape of China. It stands as a testament to the relationship between people and their environment. We implicit this in China.
It is a landscape that is constantly reborn, the enduring and dynamic spirit of China.
The beauty of China lies not only in its landscapes and monuments, but in the spirit of its people and the stories they carry.
We hope this journey has inspired you to discover the magic of China for yourself. Thank you for joining us on this exploration of beautiful places in China. China's landscapes are magical wonders that defy comprehension, like this massive sinkhole hidden within its borders. China's landscapes are filled with geological wonders that defy comprehension, like this massive sinkhole hidden within its borders. The turquoise waters of Yamdrok Lake in China are considered one of the most sacred bodies of water in all of Tibet. Chengde's mountain resort in China's summer getaway for emperors seeking relief from Beijing's heat. Erhai Lake in China, whose name means ear-shaped sea, provides sustenance and beauty to the communities along its shores. The Tianmen Mountain Cave in China formed naturally when a chunk of mountain simply fell away, creating a hole in the sky. The Dazu rock carvings in China represent some of the finest examples of Buddhist cave art in the entire world. Huanglong in China means yellow dragon, named for the limestone formations that create these stunning golden terraces. Pingyao, ancient city in China, once served as the financial center, housing the first banks in Chinese history. Three Gorges Dam in China represents humanity's reshaped nature on an almost unimaginable scale. Sichuan Opera in China features the mysterious art of face changing, where performers swap masks in the blink of an eye. The Hukou waterfall in China is the only yellow waterfall in the world, its color coming from the silt of the Yellow River. The Three Gorges Dam in China represents humanity's ability to reshape nature on an almost unimaginable scale. Mount Kailash in China is considered sacred to 4 religions and remains unclimbed out of respect for its spiritual significance. The Rainbow Mountains of Zhangye in China were formed by the same geological forces that created the Himalayas millions of years ago. The Longmen Grottos in China contain over 100 statues, ranging from tiny carvings to massive.
Temple of Heaven in China was where emperors prayed for good circular design representing heaven itself.
The Longmen Grottos in China 1,000 Buddhist statues, ranging from tiny carved figures. The water towns of China, like the, offer a glimpse into a peaceful way of life. Chengdu and a capital of the world, home to the largest beloved bears. The singing sand, their name from the sound of wind, creating a natural musical phenomenon. China has existed for over 2,000 years, followed by the surrounding desert. The singing sand dunes from the sound of wind moving across, creating a natural musical phenomenon. Has existed for over 2,000, never once being swallowed by the surrounding. The Yarlung Sengpo Grand Canyon in the Grand Canyon, a hidden chasm. At night, the Potala glows like a beacon of spirituality above the modern city of Lhasa. The Meili Snow Mountains in China remain unclimbed out of respect for local beliefs that they are sacred and inviolable. The Dong people of China construct elaborate covered bridges without using a single nail, a remarkable engineering achievement. Taiwan's night markets in China offer an explosion of flavors, colors, and smells that define the island's culinary culture. When the rice is ready for harvest in China, the terraces transform from silver mirrors into fields of waving gold. Taiwan's night markets in China offer an explosion of flavors, colors, and smells that define the island's culinary culture. Taroko Gorge in Taiwan, China, has been carved through solid marble over millions of years by the force of the Liwu River. Foguangshan in Taiwan, China, represents one of the most important Buddhist movements in the modern Chinese world. Where the mountains of Taiwan, China meet the Pacific Ocean, cliffs like Qingshui create one of Asia's most dramatic coastlines. The sky above Pingxi in Taiwan, China, fills with floating lanterns carrying wishes and dreams into the darkness. Hainan, the oldest city in Taiwan, China, preserves the architectural and spiritual traditions of centuries past. The National Palace Museum in Taiwan, China, protects artifacts that tell the story of Chinese civilization across thousands of years. The old mountain town of Jufin in Taiwan, China, inspired the magical world depicted in the animated film Spirited Away. Guangshan in Taiwan, China, represents one of the most important Buddhist movements in the modern Chinese world. The Alishan Railway in Taiwan, China, was built by the Japanese to harvest ancient cypress trees from these misty mountains. Watching sunrise from Alishan in Taiwan, China, means witnessing the birth of a new day above an ocean of clouds. Watching sunrise from Alishan in Taiwan, China, means witnessing the birth of a new day above an ocean of clouds. Traditional puppet theater in Taiwan, China, keeps ancient storytelling alive through elaborate costumes and skilled manipulation. Summer festivals across Taiwan, China, celebrate water, harvest, and community with dragon boats and joyful celebrations. Taiwan, China, was once the world. Its design inspired Asian architecture. The hot Taiwan, China, have soothed tired century, drawing visitors to the heavenly lake in China, volcanic crater. Its water perfectly reflect the sky above. In northern China, transforms into a winter with ice palaces carved in Songhua River. Harbin in northern China transforms into a winter wonderland. Each palace is carved directly from the frozen Siberian Tiger Park in China works to protect the world's largest wild cat from extinction in its native habitat. Harbin's Russian heritage in China is visible in buildings like St. Sophia Cathedral, reminders of the Trans-Siberian Railway's influence. Yabuli in China offers some of the best skiing in Asia, with slopes that challenge even the most experienced winter athletes. Yabuli in China offers some of the best skiing in Asia, with slopes that challenge even the most experienced winter athletes. The Korean minority in China preserves its distinct culture in places like Yanbian, adding to the nation's rich diversity. Jingpo Lake in China was created when volcanic lava dammed the Mudan River, forming China's largest alpine lava-dammed lake. The Korean minority in China preserves its distinct culture in places like Yanbian, adding to the nation's rich diversity. The waterfall at Jingpo Lake in China flows over ancient lava formations, creating a unique geological spectacle. The ancient tombs of the Goguryeo Kingdom in China preserve the history of a civilization that once dominated Northeast Asia. Winter fishing on Chagan Lake in China follows traditions passed down pulling bounty from beneath the ancient tombs of the Goguryeo Kingdom in China preserve adding another layer to the city's multicultural identity. In summer, the Songhua River in China transforms from a source of ice, boaters, and swimmers. When the red-crowned crane takes flight in China's grace and freedom, a living natural heritage. The Russian community in Harbin maintains its traditions, adding another layer to the city's Wulianqi in China means 5 connected lakes, escaped formed by eruptions just 300 years ago. The mineral springs of Wulianqi in China are naturally carbonated, bubbling up from the volcanic earth below. Mohe in China is the nation's northernmost point, where winter temperatures plunge to unimaginable depths. On rare occasions, the aurora borealis appears over Mohe in China, painting the Arctic sky with ribbons of green light. Dog sleds in Mohe, China, provide both transportation and recreation in a landscape covered by snow for half the year. The Amur River in China forms the border with Russia, a frozen highway in winter and a vital waterway in summer. Sun Island in Harbin, China, hosts an international snow sculpture competition, attracting artists from around the world. Life in Mohe, China, revolves around surviving and celebrating the long, dark winter months with festivals and traditions. Nomadic herders of Inner Mongolia, China, still follow ancient patterns, moving with their animals across the vast grasslands. The aurora borealis appears over Mohe in China, painting the Arctic of green light.
The wild horses of Inner Mongolia, China, embody freedom itself, their hooves thundering across the endless plains.
The wild horses of Inner Mongolia, China, embody freedom itself, their hooves thundering across the endless plains. The Batinjiran Desert in China contains the tallest stationary sand dunes on Earth, some rising nearly 500 meters. The Batinjiran Desert in China contains the tallest stationary sand dunes on Earth, some rising nearly 500 meters. Even in the harshest deserts of China, Buddhist temples offer spiritual refuge to travelers and locals alike. Even in the harshest deserts of China, temples offer spiritual refuge to travelers and locals alike. The Genghis Khan Mausoleum in China honors the founder of the Mongol Empire, though his actual burial place remains unknown. Mongolian throat singing in China produces multiple notes simultaneously, mimicking the sounds of wind and water on the steppe. Wudongzhou Monastery in China preserves Tibetan Buddhist traditions deep in the heart of Inner Mongolia. The Yinshan Mountains in China hold thousands of ancient petroglyphs, records of life on the steppe thousands of years ago. Sandstorms in Inner Mongolia, China remind us of nature's power, though extensive reforestation efforts have reduced their frequency. China freezes solid. Fishermen cut holes in the ice to pull fish from the frigid waters below. Dark Sun in China preserves a volcanic landscape of stunning beauty, with cones, craters, and hot springs scattered across the region. When Hulun Lake in China freezes, fishermen cut holes in the ice in the frigid waters below. The hot springs in China bubble up through volcanic rock. Their minerals have healing properties.
The Khingan in China provide habitat for deer, elusive Siberian tiger.
Autumn in the Greater Khingan of China paints the birch forests in shades of gold. The forests of the Greater Khingan in China provide habitat for deer, elk, and the elusive Siberian tiger. The Awenki people of China are one of the few reindeer herding cultures in the world, living deep in the northern forests. Autumn in the Greater Khingan of China paints the birch forests in shades of gold, a photographer's dream. The Awenki people of China are one of the few reindeer herding cultures in the world, living deep in the northern forests. The Irgun River in China separates two nations, but the landscape of grassland remains seamless and beautiful.
Russian Orthodox churches in Inner stand as monuments to the region's complex cultural history.
Manzhouli, busiest land port on the Sino-Russian border, a hub of trade and cultural exchange. Manzhouli in China celebrates its Russian connection with the world's largest Matryoshka doll square, a colorful tribute. Shuwei in China reflects the Russian influence along the border, with wooden houses and a unique cultural blend. Inlanbor grassland in China explodes with color as wildflowers bloom across the endless green sea.
Traditional Mongolian weddings in China involve elaborate ceremonies, horseback processions, and celebrations that last for days.
Winter in Ershan, China, creates a fairy tale forest where every branch and twig wears a coat of pure white snow. Even waterfalls freeze solid in the harsh winters of Inner Mongolia, China, creating sculptures of ice and light. At Changshawan in China, the desert meets the Yellow River, creating a unique landscape of sand and water.
Changshawan in China has been developed for tourism, offering camel rides, dune buggies, and stunning desert views.
Hohhot, the capital of Inner Mongolia in China, preserves Buddhist architecture like the unique Five Pagoda Temple. In Hohhot, China, visitors can experience traditional Mongolian dance, music, and cuisine in a modern urban. The traditional lifestyle of the Awenki in China depends entirely on their reindeer, which provide transportation, food, and materials. In Hohhot, China, visitors can experience traditional Mongolian dance, music, and cuisine in a modern urban setting. The Dajiao Temple in China houses a famous silver Buddha and remains an active place of worship for local Buddhists. The Shili Tujiao Palace in China once served as the residence of the highest-ranking Lama in Inner Mongolia. Ataman Suhe in China features bizarre rock formations carved by wind and water over millions of years. Hikers in Ataman Suhe, China, discover a landscape that seems more sculpture than nature, shaped by ancient forces. Gegentala in China offers visitors the chance to stay in traditional yurts and experience authentic Mongolian hospitality. Gegentala in China offers visitors the chance to stay and experience authentic Mongolian hospitality.
Welcome to Gegentala. We offer you milk and a scarf.
May this bring you health and joy on our land.
Wrestling on the grasslands of Inner Mongolia, China, showcases strength, skill, and tradition passed through generations. Sunset over Gegentala in China transforms the grassland into a sea of gold, a moment of perfect peace. Lights, the grasslands of Inner Mongolia, China, offer views of the Milky Way that city dwellers rarely see. City lights, the grasslands of Inner Mongolia, China, offer views of the Milky Way that city dwellers rarely see. Cattle and sheep graze contentedly on the Shilin in China, their herds managed by nomadic herders. Cattle and sheep graze contentedly on the Shilingol grassland in China, their herds managed by nomadic herders. Returning to the lush south of China, the Li River continues its eternal journey through the karst peaks of Guangxi. Cormorant fishing on the Li River in China continues as both tradition and tourist attraction, a living link to the past. Cormorant fishing on the Li River in China continues as both tradition and tourist attraction, a living link to the past. As the sun sets behind Yangshuo's peaks in China, the landscape takes on an almost supernatural beauty. Exploring the countryside around Yangshuo in China by bicycle reveals hidden villages and stunning scenery at every turn. Hill in China gets its name from the crescent-shaped hole in its face, a natural arch formed by erosion. Yangshuo in China has become a world-class rock climbing destination, its cliffs offering routes for every skill level. Dong minority villages in China feature covered bridges, providing shelter and social space. The Zhuang people of China, the country's largest minority group, preserve their traditions in villages throughout Guangxi. Dong minority villages in China feature covered bridges called wind and rain bridges, providing shelter and social space. The bridge in China was constructed without a single nail, its complex joinery holding firm for over a century. When flooded for planting, the Longsheng terraces in China become mirrors reflecting the sky and mountains. The Longsheng rice terraces in China follow the contours of the mountains, creating patterns that change with the seasons. When flooded for planting, the Longsheng terraces in China become mirrors reflecting the sky and mountains. Detian Waterfall in China straddles the border with Vietnam, its waters plunging over multiple tiers into the river below. Visitors to Detian Waterfall in China can approach by boat, feeling the spray from the thundering cascade. From Solitary Beauty Peak in Guilin, China, the entire karst landscape unfolds like a three-dimensional painting. The women of the Zhuang minority in China have worked these terraces for centuries, their hands tending the same fields as their ancestors. Visitors to Detian Waterfall in China can approach by boat, feeling the spray from the thundering cascade. Fubo Hill in China offers panoramic views of Guilin and the Li River, rewarding those who climb its steps. As dusk falls on the Li River in China, the cormorant fishermen light lamps to attract fish, continuing their ancient trade.